Welcome to Footprints, TorontoTv's newest travel show. I'm your host, Anita. Today we'll be looking at the American frontier that is Alaska. So first off, I'd like to introduce to you a little bit about Alaska's basics. So as you can see, Alaska is a state of the United States of America, and it's located in the extreme northwest portion of North America. It is by far the largest U.S. state in area. Alaska's capital is Juneau, which is located near the border of Canada, the Yukon Territory, and its largest city is Anchorage. As of 2000, approximately 627,000 people live in Alaska. So let's move on to a little bit about Alaska's history. Vitus Bering, a Dane working for the Russians, and Alexei Shirokov discovered the Alaskan mainland and the Aleutian Islands in 1741. Alaska was unexplored in 1867 when U.S. Secretary of State William Seward arranged for its purchase from the Russians for $7,200,000. The transfer of the territory took place on October 18, 1867, and was widely ridiculed as Seward's folly, as it was deemed financially, it did not reap financial benefits, apparently. That's what many politicians opposing the purchase of Alaska said. And since Alaska appeared to offer no immediate financial return, it was neglected, and in fact, for a large portion of time, it was not even explored very well. It was not until after the discovery of gold in the Juneau region in 1880 that Alaska was given a governor and a feeble local administration. This began the start of Alaska's gold rush, and the 1896 Klondike gold rush that occurred in Canada compelled many Americans to travel to Alaska in pursuit of gold. And large discoveries in Alaska later followed in Nome in 1898 to 99, and Fairbanks in 1902. And miners and prospectors essentially took over Alaska, and this heralded a new era of mining camps that sprouted up everywhere. So a new era for Alaska began when the local government was established in 1912 and became a U.S. territory. At this point, gold mining was dying out and was beginning to be replaced by fishing industries. And on January 3rd, 1959, Alaska was officially instituted in the United States of America as its 49th state. So if you refer to the PowerPoint, you'll see that there's the state flag of Alaska with its blue and yellow colors. And in these two photos, if you look to your left, is former U.S. Secretary of State William Seward, who I just mentioned, encouraged the purchase, and eventually lucrative purchase of Alaska from Russia by the United States. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a Klondike mining camp that is in Canada that actually compelled many Americans to go to Alaska in pursuit of gold. So, moving on, I'd like to explore a little bit of Alaskan culture and customs. But before I delve into that topic, I'd like to present to you a little bit of my personal photos from my vacation in Alaska with my family. And we'll start off with this first photo, which is me, and it's during a hike in an Alaskan forest. And as you can see, it's a little stream there through a valley. The second photo is me again near a waterfall. And this is my sister and I in another angle of the waterfall. And the last photo is myself by a lake or stream. And as you can see from my raincoat, it was quite rainy, but it was quite an amazing experience for myself because the scenic and the scenery was absolutely beautiful. And it rained quite a bit, but it was quite an experience to behold. And I highly encourage you to, if you ever get the chance to go to Alaska, to embark on a hiking trail, because it's unseen wilderness. So I'd like to show you now a t-shirt that, although my sister and I actually did not have any sightings of any animals in the specific hiking trail, if we were to see any animals, these are the types that we would actually see. And this shirt, if you look close, it says Alaska Natural Tracks, And you would see the types of animals or animal tracks that you may see include caribou, lynx, grizzly bear, porcupine, beaver, wolf, and moose. And as you can see the corresponding tracks over there. So now I'm going to delve into a bit about Alaska's culture and customs. And a large portion of its culture is actually created by the large native population that they have. So Alaska's large native population includes Eskimos, Indians, and Aleuts. And about half of all Alaskan natives are Eskimos. The two main Eskimo groups are Inupiaq and Yupik, and they're distinguished by their language and geography. The former live in the north and the northwest parts, of Alaska and speak Inupiaq, while the latter live in the south and the southwest portions of Alaska and they speak Yupik. About a third of Alaskan natives are American Indians, and the major tribes are the Alaskan Athabaskan in the central part of the state, and the Tlingit, Tsimshian, and Haida in the southeast. The Aleuts, native to the Aleutian Islands, Kodiak Island, the lower Alaska and Kenai Peninsulas, and Prince William Sound, are physically and culturally related to the Eskimos, and about 15% of all Alaskan natives are in fact Aleuts. So, I'd like to show you a piece of native artwork, or a portrayal of native artwork, and this attests to how much the Native Americans really affected the Alaskan region. And this is Inuit art, and it's a portrayal of a fish. There's nothing inside the box. It's just wood. So this is just a good portrayal of art that I'll just put over here. And so aside from the native influence, Alaska also abounds in many natural wonders. In the Panhandle area, for example, the scenic beauty of the mountains and the rugged fjord-indented coast are augmented by such attractions such as the Malaspina Glacier and acres of blue ice in the Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve. And in the Alaskan region of the south, Central Alaska stands the highest point in North America, which is also known as Mount McKinley, in Denali National Park and Preserve. The Alaska Peninsula and Aleutian Islands have numerous volcanoes. Katmai National Park and Preserve contains the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, which was the scene of a volcanic eruption in 1912. Important industries in Alaska include oil, fisheries, wood, fur, and tourism. So now I'm going to show you a personal video of mine that features my family and myself. And it's something, it's essentially us walking on a bridge many feet above the Alaskan forest, and you'll just have to see it for yourself. So I hope you enjoy the video. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, I won't be able to present you to the video, but essentially it was my sister and I crossing a bridge very high up in the Alaskan rainforest. And actually, during that crossing of the bridge, we had various sightings of bears and such. So it's unfortunate that I can't bring to you to the video, but perhaps on a future show I will be able to. So moving on, let's explore a little bit of Alaskan arts and entertainment. In addition to things such as hiking, such as that as you saw, or crossing bridges high up in Alaskan rainforest, there are many other things that you can actually do in Alaska, and that includes many things, such as during the summer there are a lot of festivals and outdoor concerts in the towns, and during the winters things like snowshoeing, skiing, and various other things, and the odd carnival help to lift people's spirits during the bitter Alaskan winters. So some of them include, if you refer to the PowerPoint, the polar bear jump-off and ugly fish toss, which occur in Seward at the end of January. Here, people in crazy costumes jump into the freezing waters of Resurrection Bay. The ugly fish toss involves people throwing a salmon to each other, which gets slimier and slippier the more it's handled. So you can see on the right-hand side is a polar bear jump-off and people jumping into frigid waters. Another one is the Yukon Quest International Dog Sled Race, which you can see to the left of the PowerPoint. And this takes place in the middle of February. It's one of the toughest races of its kind, covering a rugged 1,000 miles from Fairbanks to Whitehorse in Canada's Yukon Territory. So as you can see in the photo, you can see mushers, who are the people who control the sled as well as the dog, and also the dogs themselves. Other types of events related to arts and entertainment that you can enjoy in Alaska include the Anchorage Fur Rendezvous Winter Carnival, which is a huge citywide event held each February with fireworks, craft fairs, softball, snowshoeing, and world champion dog sled racing. As well, there's the Bering Sea Ice Golf Classic, which entails people playing golf on ice, which is quite an interesting terrain to play. The World Ice Art Championships in Fairbanks, which attract numerous ice sculptors around the world, and they engage in an ice sculpting competition. So the last festival that I'd like to mention is the Alaska Day Festival, which occurs on October 18th, and it commemorates the purchase of Alaska by the United States from Russia. So at this point I would have liked to show you a video of zipping, but the only thing I can do is explain to you a little bit about what zipping is, and that's another type of entertainment that you can enjoy in Alaska, and I highly encourage you to go on a zipping because it's one of the best things that ever happened to me in Alaska. And basically what it is you're tied to a thin line, and you hook yourself up to it in a harness, and you're above the Alaskan forest, and you kind of zip along through the rainforest, or the forest rather, and you can see various animals and wildlife in the region. So it was a very exciting experience for myself, and hopefully I'll be able to bring the video to you next time. So moving on to Alaskan cuisine, which is my favorite part of this show. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what Alaska has to offer in terms of cuisine. So with over 34,000 miles of coastline, Alaska's cold, clear waters are very good for a mouth-watering array of fish and seafood, including oysters, scallops, sablefish, halibut, and cod. And Alaska is one of the world's foremost areas for wild salmon production, with its yearly catch amounting to over 1/3 of the world total. And salmon harvesting is carried out with a view to ensure lasting stock for the future, and the concept of sustained yield management is even included in the state constitution to maintain acceptable levels of salmon to consume. And there are 5 varieties of salmon available and native to Alaska, and these include the largest and least abundant, which is called the king or Chinook salmon, valued for its red flesh and rich flavor. And there are also the sockeye, the silver, the chum salmon, and pink salmon, which is the smallest and most plentiful salmon in Alaska. As well, besides from being sold fresh, you can also purchase them canned, or you can also purchase them smoked or quick frozen. And another of Alaska's most famous seafood is the Alaskan king crab, and it's renowned for its sweetness and tenderness. And the giant crab is harvested in the early winter by fishermen who brave the rough, cold seas and transport it to processing plants where it's cleaned, cooked, and served up to whoever would like to eat Alaskan king crab. So if you refer to the pictures on my PowerPoint, you will see that on the left is an array of Alaskan seafood. And you can see salmon in the bottom right-hand corner, a crab in the top right-hand corner. On the top left corner, there's Alaskan king crab. And on the right-hand side is the 5 different types of Alaskan salmon that I mentioned earlier. So moving on to a more serious portion of the show, I'd like to bring to you, as usual, Alaskan social issues. So, Alaska has had a problem with alcohol use and abuse, and many rural communities in Alaska have outlawed its import. Dry, wet, and damp are terms describing the community's problem with alcohol abuse, and there's actually a prevalence of fetal alcohol syndrome in the region due to high rates of alcoholism in Alaska. As well, alcoholism contributes to a high rate of suicide and crime and domestic abuse, which is notoriously high in Alaska, unfortunately. As well, Alaska has a problem with brain drain, which is essentially highly educated and well-rounded academic people leaving the country, or leaving the state rather, as soon as they graduate from the university. But luckily, Alaskan universities are fighting this brain drain by offering full 4-year scholarships offered to students, or top 10% of high school students. And Alaska is actually the only state in the United States of America to legalize marijuana. And in fact, residents can hold up to 4 ounces of marijuana, adult residences, for personal use. So that's quite an interesting fact. And if you refer to my PowerPoint, you'll see, as I illustrated earlier, that alcoholism on the left and marijuana is prevalent issues, or very contentious issues, in Alaska currently. So that essentially ends my segment for today, and unfortunately it's a bit of a short one, so I would have liked to bring to you the 2 videos that we missed earlier, but next week you should tune in to see those really exciting videos. For now, if you'd like to learn more about Alaska, you should visit these sites on my sources page, including Info Please, The Worldwide Gourmet, BBC Radio 1 Life's travel section, Spiritus Temporis, and Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, if you'd like to find out more about Alaska. And I'd like to special thanks to the following people, and I highly encourage you to send in any comments about the show. I always enjoy hearing from viewers, and you can send that to all queries or comments to anita.y.li@gmail.com. So thank you for joining me tonight on this episode of Exploring the Alaskan Terrain. And again, my name is Anita Lee for TorontoTv. I hope you tune in next week to see a new region that we're going to explore. Thank you.